Hello, I'm Stephanie. Welcome to this yoga session. Today is going to be an informational session that is great for those who, 1, are beginners or beginner-ish, 2, want some modifications to the poses, or 3, just want some basic tips for the structure of some of the more common poses. And today I have with me a block. I don't usually use props in my sessions, but a yoga block is the one thing that can really be helpful to help you get into some of the poses, especially some of the standing poses. You can buy it at any sports store pretty cheaply, and it can be quite useful. So I'll put this aside for now and we'll get to that shortly. So let's begin. Now, the most basic fundamental thing in yoga is breathing, and we breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, always through the nose. We tend to breathe into the poses, inhale, raise those arms up, and exhale when we're releasing out of the poses. It doesn't always work perfectly that way, but generally it does. So let's just do a couple little warm-ups here. Inhale through the nose, raise those arms up, and exhale, swan dive forward. Gently roll back up, inhale through the nose, raise those arms up, and exhale, swan dive forward. And gently roll up one more time. We're just waking up the spine here. And raise those arms up, and exhale, release down. Now we're going to go through a sun salutation, which is very common, especially in flowing yoga classes. So we'll do one kind of quickly and flowing, and then we'll break down each pose of the sun salutation. So inhale through the nose, raise those arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, look up. Step your feet back into plank position. Exhale through the nose, come down through chaturanga. Come to the tops of your feet, inhale, shoulders back, up dog, and exhale, push back to down dog. And that's pretty much a basic sun salutation. So look up at the hands, we're gonna step or jump your feet up. Look up, exhale, release down. Inhale, raise those arms up. And exhale through the nose, release down. Now we'll go through each pose separately to give you some pointers. So inhale, arms up, exhale through the nose, swan dive forward. Inhale, look up, step your feet back to plank position. Now you might want to take your knees down just for a moment here as I explain a few things. Now alignment is very important in yoga, mostly because it helps stabilize the body and prevent injury. And in plank pose, you want your shoulders to be directly in line with the wrists. And this is true for some other things that we do in this particular situation, like if we're doing mountain climbers, or if we're gonna do a one-arm balance, you always want the shoulder to be directly over the wrist. And also, you wanna make sure, this seems basic, but it's very common when in the middle of yoga we get flustered and we're not quite aware of where our body is. Make sure, like in a position like this, that your hands are directly across from each other and that your feet are directly across from each other. So you don't want your one hand to be in front and one foot to be like this. You want some symmetry here. So now your body is going to be in one long line, and you're going to really use your abs here. You don't want to use your lower back. You don't want to ever use your lower back for things like this. Really use that core to keep the strength. So this is plank position, and from plank we lower down through chaturanga, and when we lower down, it's quite intense on the arms. We keep those elbows in. And you aim to keep that body in one nice long line. And just before we come to the bottom, we're gonna roll over our toes and onto the tops of the feet and lift those legs. Now, I don't exactly roll over onto my toes because I have some joint issues in my toes. So I tend to just let my legs release down, and then I place the tops of the feet on the ground and lift my legs. Whatever is most comfortable for you, you just wanna get, basically, onto the tops of your feet and lift those legs. So you're only on your hands and the tops of your feet. You're gonna roll those shoulders back and look up. For up dog, it's a little back bend here. And then you're gonna come back over the toes and push back into down dog. Now down dog is a strengthening position, it's a stretching position, and it can even be a resting position. You're gonna press those palms in, press those heels down. Now the heels might not ever make it down to the mat, and that's okay. You'll feel it anyway. Most people's heels are probably somewhere up here. That's okay. I happen to have a bit of a bendy body. I have pretty loose joints, so I get down, but
It's okay wherever your heels are, absolutely okay.
And then look up at the hands. You're gonna step or jump your feet up. Look up.
Exhale, release down. And gently roll all the way back up.
Inhale, arms up. And exhale, release down. And there you have it, a sun salutation. So let's go through the sun salutation one more time, and we'll pick up the pace just a bit, and I'll try to give you some pointers along the way. So inhale through the nose, raise those arms up. Exhale through the nose, swan dive forward. Inhale, look up. Step your feet way back into plank position. Make sure the shoulders are directly over the wrists. Body in nice one long line. Use that core. And using the core and this arm strength, keep those elbows in. Come down through chaturanga. Come to the tops of your feet. Lift those legs up. Roll those shoulders back. Look up for up dog. And exhale, come back over your toes and push back into down dog. Well done. So from here, we're gonna raise that right leg up and back behind you. We're gonna bring that foot up in between the hands, and we're gonna come up into crescent pose here. Now some pointers here, if you need to take a rest from this pose for a moment, that's okay. You want your body to be parallel with the mat. Your feet to be parallel with the mat, your legs to be parallel with the mat. Again, some symmetry here. It prevents little injuries and it increases your stability. You don't want your knee to be one side or the other of the ankle. You want it to be right in line with the ankle. Now in these poses, in these lunge type of poses, you're aiming to get that front leg into a right angle and you keep your back leg straight. Now I admit it's hard, it's challenging, it takes a lot of strength and it can be difficult at times. So if you need to straighten that front leg a tiny bit and bend that back leg a bit, it's okay. You will get there in time the more you practice. So here in crescent pose, where our front leg is bent, back leg is straight, arms reach up, palms facing each other. And in these poses too, our shoulders tend to creep up. You really want to relax those shoulders and not create tension where you don't need it. Now warrior one is very similar. Everything is the same except your back heel. You want to release that heel down and you want your foot to be in a 45-degree angle to the mat. So again, your hips should be lined up with the mat, your knee in line with the ankle, and keep that whole body forward. Just that back heel is down. So this is warrior one. And warrior two is the same leg position, but your arms are gonna be parallel with the ground, your palms will be facing down, you're gonna look out over the right fingertips. Again, your shoulders are gonna want to creep up here. Try to just keep relaxing them down for warrior two. And we're gonna take it all down. Exhale, step that foot back. Come through the vinyasa. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, push back to down dog. Now we're gonna practice what we learned on the other side. So raise that left leg up and back behind you. Bring that foot up in between the hands and come up into crescent pose here. Again, keep that front foot parallel with the mat. Keep your knee in line with your ankle. Raise those arms up, release those shoulders down, all the while you're bending into that left leg and straightening that right leg. Warrior one, all you're gonna do is just release that back heel down into a 45-degree angle. And warrior two, release those arms down parallel and your hands are facing down. Now you notice sometimes when I transition to these, I do a little kind of tweaking. Sometimes you do need a little bit of tweaking. It's not quite so perfect. You're in warrior one and you know the legs are supposed to be the same in warrior two, but it doesn't quite feel right. Sometimes it does need a tiny bit of tweaking and that's perfectly okay. You know your body and what it needs. And exhale, bring it all down, step back into plank. Remember, keep the shoulders over the wrists. Keep those elbows in as we come down, come to the tops of the feet, lift those legs, shoulders back, up dog. And exhale, push back into down dog. Press those palms down, press those heels down. And just take a breath or two here. Use this as a resting pose.
In through the nose and exhale through the nose.
Look up at the hands. You're gonna step or jump your feet up to the hands. Look up.
Release down. Inhale.
Come all the way back up. And we're gonna sit back into a chair pose. Now with chair pose, you wanna keep your knees directly over the ankles. It's okay if your feet and knees are apart or if they're together. Either way is fine, but you just want, whatever you're doing, is your knees to be directly over the ankles. I tend to like to keep mine together, but you might feel better on your knees to keep them apart. So you're gonna sit back, like you're sitting back into a chair pose, or into a chair. And you're gonna keep raising those arms back with your palms facing inward. Keep raising those arms back towards your ears. It's very intense. It's intense in your legs and it's intense on your arms. Really try to relax those shoulders down. And exhale, straighten the legs and just
come all the way down. Now every time we come down into this forward bend, I realize that you might not come all the way down. Your hands might be dangling here. That's okay. And if you need to bend your knees a little bit to get down, or if you're just dangling up here, that's perfectly all right.
So basically you're up here, you come forward,
you're not quite all the way down, that's okay. No problem. The more you do it, the closer you might find you get down towards the ground.
So we're gonna raise those arms up in an inhale. In exhale, we're gonna sit back into another chair pose. This time we're gonna do a chair twist. So we're gonna take our hands into prayer position. And here, the tendency is, as we start to twist, our tendency is for our knees to shift. But again, we want symmetry. We want to keep those knees together. Or again, if their knees are apart, it's okay if your knees are apart. You just don't want one knee to go in front or the other. So you're gonna start to twist over to the right and hook that elbow on the left leg. And in any of these twisting poses, you can look down, out, or up. When you look up, you get more of a twisting sensation, but sometimes it doesn't feel so good on the neck. And sometimes it's just hard to balance when we look up. So you can take any variation down, out, or up.
And exhale, release down.
Inhale, gently roll all the way back up. And exhale through the nose, sit back into another chair, and of course we'll take the other side. So again, you don't want your knees shifting here. Keep them aligned with each other, and twist over to the left, and hook that elbow onto the knee. And if you're having a hard time hooking it, you might need to straighten your legs a little bit. You might need to kind of adjust here, depending on what your body feels. But you do need it to be hooked to feel stable. And again, whatever's comfortable for your neck, you can look down, out, or up for a chair twist.
And exhale, release it all down. Just take a moment to kind of shake out your leg, shake out your, or not your leg, your head. Shake out your head, shake out your arms. And inhale, gently roll all the way back up. Reach up and exhale, arms down. So we'll do a sun salutation and move into a few other poses. So inhale, through the nose, arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, look up. Step your feet way back to plank position. Exhale, come down through chaturanga. Inhale, come to the tops of the feet, legs up, shoulders back, up dog. And push back into down dog. Raise that right leg up and back behind you. And bring the right foot up in between the hands and come up into crescent pose. From here, we're going to go into warrior two. We did this before, where you have to release that back heel down, foot's at a 45-degree angle. Keep that front leg straight, shoulders down, and look out over the right fingertips. Now we're gonna come into triangle pose. So here you're just gonna straighten that front leg. Everything else remains the same except you just straighten that front leg. And you're gonna reach out. Again, I'm doing a few tweaks here. Sometimes you might need to move your foot up a little bit, or foot up back for, I can't speak, or your foot back a little bit, and that's okay. You just have to tweak a little bit, whatever is working for your body. Reach out, and you can do one of two things here. Let your hand fall where it may. It might be way up here near your knee, it might be down near your ankle, but if it is up really high, you can take a block here. place it on the inside of that foot. And the great thing about the block is you can do it at any height that works for you. So you can place that hand on the block to help you. If that doesn't work, you can raise it up a bit. What you don't want to start to come forward like this, which we have a tendency to do. You want to keep your body in one nice long line. It's sort of like we're leaning up against a wall here. And if the block helps you do that, go for it. Use a block. Legs are straight and strong. And again, in the triangle pose, you can look down, out, or up. Now in a twisting triangle, you can also use the block. Twisting triangles can be quite intense. So you just want to take the block to the other side of your foot. You're going to take that left foot in a bit, come to the center, keep rotating your body over to the right, and place your fingertips either on the floor, or you can take your hand or your fingertips onto a block and start to twist here. You can see how useful the block can be, because otherwise it can feel like you're never going to get down here. And if you do, your body's going to go way over here, and that certainly doesn't feel good or stable. So the block can really come in handy for stuff like this. In a twisting triangle, your legs are straight and strong. And again, you can look down, out, or up. We're going to bring that hand down, and we're going to come into half moon. Again, place that block, if you're needing the block, at whatever level you think, directly in front into the bit of the right of your right foot. You're going to start to come forward, place the left hand on the left hip, and just raise that left leg up here. Both legs are straight and strong. Now here you want to flex that left foot, and flexing means it's like you make a little flex. Some people don't know what flex means, and that's perfectly all right. So you don't point your toe, you do the opposite. So you make almost like a right angle with your foot. So you're going to flex that left foot, and you really want to open up that left hip. Again, your body should feel like it's sort of up against a wall, straight up against a wall. You don't want your leg to be over to the left or over to the right. And if you're feeling stable, you can take that left arm up. And if you're feeling extra stable, you can start to look up. I have a very hard time looking up here. I will most likely fall down, so I tend to just look down, and that's perfectly okay. And for a twisting half moon, you're gonna just release that leg down, square your hips, take the left hand down onto the block or the floor, raise that right arm up, and twist here. So you can see how handy this block can come in. And release it all down. Put your hands down on the mat, step your foot back into plank position. Exhale, come down through chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, push back to down dog. Now I'm getting quite warm here, and it's a lot of poses, it's getting very intense. At any point in time in your yoga practice, you can come down into child's pose. So in child's pose, you can either you always want your ankles together, you can have your knees together or your knees apart if it feels too much on your knees, but you want to keep your ankles together. And you just step back onto your heels. You can have a stretching child's pose where you just stretch out those arms and feel the side stretch, it feels lovely. Or you can just relax your arms down. You can do this at any point in your practice. It's extremely helpful to just give yourself a chance to catch your breath, give yourself a chance to rest your body, just so that you're refreshed and ready to continue on. And whenever we go into a down dog, it's a perfect chance to do it because you're just right here. And it's very easy to just bend those knees and come back for a moment. So wherever you are, we're going to push back into down dog, and of course take the other side. So left leg up and back behind you. Bring the left foot up in between the hands. Come up into crescent pose. Release that back heel down to a 45-degree angle. Into warrior two. We're going to straighten that leg, and we're going to come out into triangle pose here. So again, you can grab that block if you need it. Put it on the inside of that left foot. Just place your hand or your fingertips on that block and raise that right arm up. You really want to open up the right shoulder. And breathe. When we hold out these poses, just start to focus inward on the breath. Notice your breath coming in and out of the lungs and the nose. And to do a twisting triangle, you're going to take the block onto the outer edge of the foot, bring that right foot in a bit, take the right hand or fingertips to the block or the floor, and just raise that left arm up. Again, you can look down, out, or up. Breathe. We're going to release it down, take that block to the front and left of your foot, and we're going to come into half moon pose. So raise that right leg up, both legs are straight and strong, flex that right foot. You can keep your hand on your hip, or you can take that arm up, whatever you prefer. And breathe. And to do a twisting half moon, you're gonna release that leg down a bit, take the right hand down to the floor or block, and raise the left arm up. It's a quite intense pose. You don't come across this pose a lot, but it will come up in a yoga practice. Wherever you are, release it all down. Step your foot way back into plank. Make sure the shoulders are over the wrists. Exhale, come down through chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, push back to down dog. Look up at the hands, step or jump up. Release up, release down. Gently roll all the way back up. Inhale through the nose, arms up, and exhale, release down. Now we're gonna do a tree pose. Now, a tree pose is a balancing pose, which is great for your balance and also calming your mind, because you really need to calm your mind to stay in the balancing pose. So we're gonna start on your right leg. You're gonna lift your left leg up. There's a couple key points in a tree pose to balancing. One is dig that heel into that inner thigh. If it's very loose, it's gonna be unstable, but if you really dig it into that inner thigh, it gives you some stability. Now you can keep your hands on your hips in prayer position, or you can raise them up, whatever feels best for you. Now the second point, key point in this balancing pose, and actually in any balancing pose, is to find a fixed point on the wall or just something stable. If you're in a yoga class, I advise not to look at the person in front of you because they will probably be moving around a bit. So find a fixed point and just focus on that, and it really helps your stability. Now you really want to use your right leg as a nice strong base here. In every yoga pose, that's the case. Use the bottom part as your foundation. Use your legs as your foundation, sometimes your arm as your foundation, and work your way upwards. And exhale, release it all down. So come to your left leg, really dig that right heel in, and whatever you did on the other side with your arms, do the same here. And find that fixed, stable point somewhere in the room. And breathe. Again, just start to focus inward on your breath. And exhale, release it all down. And come to the top of your mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, look up. Step your feet back into plank position. Exhale, come down through chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, push back to down dog. Raise the right leg up and back behind you. Bring the foot up in between the hands. Come up into crescent pose. And from here, we're gonna come out into warrior three. Now, you're just gonna start to lean out, and you're going to raise that left leg up and back behind you. Now, it's quite intense to keep your arms out in front of you. A nice resting pose for your arms is to put them in prayer position. You can bring your arms out. I like to take them back behind me. Wherever you are, you're aiming to have sort of squared hips here. You don't want to open up that left hip too much. I have a habit of opening up that hip. It's just my figure skating background. I sometimes can't help it, but I really try to square out those hips. And it's a strengthening pose, it's a balancing pose, it's quite intense. And we're gonna release those hands down and come into standing splits. Now standing splits, you're aiming to get your legs into the splits, but pretty much I can guarantee most of us will never get into the full splits, but it will feel like they're the splits. So both legs, again, are straight and strong, and you can keep your both hands down, or if you want a bit more, you can take your hand behind you, or if this is too much, again, if you're struggling, you can't get your arms all the way down, maybe you need a block to help you, whatever you need here, it's okay. And we're gonna just step that foot way back. Step your right foot back to meet it for plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, push back to down dog. Raise that left leg up and back behind you. Bring the left foot up in between the hands. Come up into crescent pose. And we're just start to lean out into warrior three on this side. So whatever you did with the hands on the other side, you're gonna do it on this side. Again, both legs are straight and strong. You're aiming for some symmetry again here. You don't want the leg to be out to the right or the left, or you're gonna create some instability then. You wanna keep your hips squared and your leg just directly behind you. And we're gonna start to come forward for standing splits. And whatever you did before, go for it again. If you need this block, that's okay. It's extraordinarily helpful at times. Or if you want to take your left hand behind your ankle or your calf, that's okay as well too. Gives you a bit more. And step that foot way back. Step the left foot back to meet it. And exhale, come down through chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, push back to down dog. Amazing, excellent, well done. We've done the hard standing poses, and we're gonna do just a few stretches before we finish. Now this is a great chance to go into child's pose if you're not already there. I'm gonna go down into child's pose. So again, keep your ankles together, your knees are together or apart. Start with an extended child's pose where you reach those arms out. And then on an exhale, just relax the arms down. Forward bends are fantastic for calming the mind. They calm the nervous system and the mind. So really focus inward here. Slow down your breath. And we're going to press yourselves back up and take your legs out in front of you. And we're going to do a forward bend with your legs straight out in front of you. Now these can be incredibly intense and you might need to bend your knees, you might not go all the way down, but this is really where breathing and practice can help. So let's just start off with get your legs out as straight as you possibly can. They might need to be a little bit bent, and sometimes it helps some people to take the block and actually sit on the block. It takes a little bit of pressure off of the back of the legs, so instead of being in that exact right angle, it's a little bit better. So you can sit on your block here if you need to. So wherever you are, on an inhale, keep that spine extending upwards, and exhale, come forward. Now this is where the breathing really helps. Now again, your knees might be a bit bent, your head might be way up here, that's perfectly okay. But inhale, extend the spine, and exhale, keeping that extension, just start to release a little bit more. With every inhale, you extend, and exhale, you let your body release just a tiny bit more down. Inhale, extend, and exhale, release down. The more you breathe, and your body is warm, so you should be able to get a little bit further down into the pose. And inhale, gently come back up. You can shake out those legs a bit. And we're gonna take the soles of the feet together. Now what might be helpful in this pose is if you're having if your knees are way up here, you might need to take your feet out further in front of you. So whatever If it works for you, that's okay. And if you need, again, to sit on the block, that's okay as well. You're gonna extend the spine upward, grab hold of those feet, and keeping that extension, just start to come forward.
Butterfly pose. Now this is similar to before, where you're gonna extend on the inhale, and exhale, release your body just a bit more down. You might feel your head go down and your knees down just a tiny bit more with every exhale. Inhale, extend, and exhale, release down.
And come back up. Take your feet out in front of you. Shake those feet out. And we're going to lie down on your mat. Take your right knee in. Grab hold of that knee. Extend that right arm out with your palm facing up. Feel a nice release in the lower back. And bring it back to center. Change sides, bring your left knee in, straighten out that front leg. And bring that left knee over. Extend that left arm out, palm up, look out over the left arm. Feel the lovely release on this side. And come back to center. Bring both legs in, give yourself a nice big hug. Grab hold of the outer edge of your feet for happy baby. Here you're just trying to open up those inner thighs. You can rock side to side a little bit. And take your right leg over your left, reach underneath the right leg and grab hold of the shin on your left leg, a lot of rights and lefts here, and gently pull the legs inward, and you should feel a nice stretch on your right side. And change sides, left leg over right, grab hold of your right shin, pull those legs in. And release down. And we're just going to come down and lie down on your mat. Now this is Shavasana pose. Shavasana pose, people tend to get a little restless. They want to end the class there before they have to lie down for a few minutes. But actually this is one of the best parts of the whole session. It gives yourself a chance to just take in everything that you've done in the session up to then. Feel the sensations of all the hard work you've put in. And also it gives yourself just a few moments to yourself. Your day's gonna be busy after this. And why not just take a moment to give yourself that peace and calm and serenity. So close your eyes. It's very important during a Shavasana to always close your eyes. Let your body just sink down into the ground. Let your legs kind of plop open, palms facing up, shoulders open. Inhale and exhale. Just let your body sink down into the ground. Thoughts will creep up and just acknowledge them, but let them pass. And keeping those eyes closed, gently roll over onto your right side and push yourself back up into sitting position. You can open your eyes here, because another helpful tip here is sometimes it's hard to sit cross-legged. Again, our knees could be way up here, it could be very uncomfortable. Again, you can take this block and just sit on the block, which can be very helpful. You can release a lot going on down there if you sit up on a block, whatever's most comfortable for you. Just raise those arms up, inhale through the nose, reach to the sky, and exhale. Come down to prayer position, namaste.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found this informational session helpful. You can take these tips and you can use them in my other yoga sessions or in whatever other yoga that you might do. Give me feedback. Let me know if there's anything else that you want me to go over. And in the meantime, have a great, fantastic, wonderful, positive, happy day. Thank you.